Hey, I wanted to do a video before I went to the gym or took my dog for a walk, or maybe both. I'm pretty tired. I did a two exercise, not really two full sets, but I did a good hour and 15 minutes, and then I did a separate half-hour workout yesterday. I don't know if I didn't sleep well or if I just worked hard and I'm kind of gassed, but I'm thinking about giving myself a rest day. Um, Had a good day at work, doing an install. My apprentice almost drove me up the wall. I was drilling or doing a four-headed Mitsubishi system, so I was trying to get all the holes drilled today, plaster walls, nightmare, two interior walls. So I got to drop the freaking line set down the bay, and then it's just a nightmare install. And so this guy, I drill from the inside out because I like to mount the hanger and then spot instead of, whatever. So I spot, and then normally I'll drill to the outside till my spotter pokes through, and then go from the outside and use my hole saw from the outside, so I don't bang up the vinyl siding, because you can damage it if you go backwards or forwards with it. You're supposed to go backwards with it, so you burn through it. So I drill the hole. I hand my apprentice the drill, and I'm like, all right, go finish the hole from the outside. I'm doing 50 things because the only other guy is gone, so I'm doing this whole install myself. And he goes outside and he drills the hole in the wrong spot. And I mean, like 3 feet away from where he was supposed to drill the hole. It's just, I almost lost my mind because this was a big mistake. You damaged the exterior of someone's house, the siding, with a hole saw, and you burn through 3/4 of an inch deep before you even realize you're not drilling in the right spot. I don't know. I basically screamed at this kid, and I was like, "You're never drilling in all my jobs again. That's it. It's done. You go pick up garbage and vacuum for the rest of the day." And that's what he did. And I was able to basically, instead of going out the left side of the air handler, I was able to go out the right side and not hit directly where he was drilling, but close enough so the cover will conceal the damage. It took a lot of extra work to do that, and I was real upset. But that's about the only bad thing that happened today. Everything else was good. Moved along, got a bunch of stuff done. On the way back, I was listening to the news, and they're talking about the energy prices and the gas prices. And I just wanted to take a minute and talk about that. Because the fact of the matter is, I don't think that you're receiving good guidance as a consumer, and maybe for good reason. I think that the pressure is going to be put on the producers of oil to not gouge, but this is going to be a decline into a quality of life I think most Americans aren't going to believe is possible in America. I think that it's going to be really upsetting for a lot of people. And I'm saying this because I have some experience with both energy prices and dealing with people on the fray. So all the time in this world, there are people who are suffering from extreme poverty. And what that really means is lack of resources. So they don't have enough water, they don't have enough food, they don't have enough electricity. Sometimes they don't have the ability to keep food cold at all. They don't own a refrigerator or a freezer, so they're dependent completely on hand-to-mouth survival. And some of them have a refrigerator, but literally can't afford to keep it plugged in all the time. So that will be for a special occasion when there's some extra meat to store or something like that. But the vast majority of the time, the refrigerator is unplugged. And I think that is coming to America, not because of a lack of ability to produce energy, but because of several compounding issues: international, domestic, global. The energy deal that provided us with global influence is done. It's been done for almost a year. It's not really discussed, but it's good riddance. I wanted it gone. It's the petro deal with Saudi Arabia in exchange for military protection. It's a terrible deal when they made it. The only way it would have made good sense is if we belched on it, and we didn't. We basically, as a country, did their bidding for them, and that's it, you know. But the whole time that we were getting their oil and promising them military protection, we were also giving them U.S. Treasury bonds. And those U.S. Treasury bonds still exist. The oil that was given in trade for them does not exist. That oil was burned. So basically, amongst other parties, Saudi Arabia, which is now no longer our primary military ally in the region, is owning our dollar and making deals with other people. It's a very vulnerable position to be in, from a economic perspective. Now, that doesn't mean we're going to see an economic attack. I think that America still has a lot of influence, still has a lot of partners, still has a lot of energy resources of our own. But the fact remains that that was a kind of a linchpin to the global market, and that's gone. So that's number one. That deal, which gave us global influence over every drop of oil, is no longer. And it's now a deal with Russia and by proxy China. So OPEC and all that is, I don't think, going to be our friend. We're also facing an obvious climate emergency, but as a more immediate, and I don't want to say more immediate because it's upon us, but a more financial impact of climate change has been, or is going to be, the manipulation of energy prices by, and I don't want to begrudge them, because I do think that this is one situation where major private colleges and investment funds in the community are doing the right thing, but it is an intentional manipulation of energy prices that's taken place by, colleges, intellectual institutions across this country and across the world that are basically divesting in petroleum and coal as a matter of policy. And I think that goes beyond that, where it's going to be maybe a pump up prior to a divestment. All I know is that college people, they might not work hard, but they are intelligent. They know that they're not working hard. But I don't underestimate their ability to puppet master the markets, even in the face of a Fed that may or may not be trying to fight them and maintain low oil prices, low coal prices, and low electricity prices. Now, there are obviously some people in government who have that as their primary objective, but I do believe that the overwhelming majority understands that climate change takes precedent over cheap fuel. Now, where this is going to hit people is it's the same thing as climate change. It's not going to be the people at ExxonMobil who are cooked to death immediately. The first people to pay the price are going to be people in Sri Lanka. They're going to be people in South Africa. They're going to be people in Central Africa. Not to go from countries to regions, but Central African Republic, whatever. In that general area, India, Pakistan, Southeast Asia, Thailand, Australia, these types of places are going to, and maybe Australia is less because they have central air conditioning and, they don't have the immediate, but it's going to be people like that who are living in extreme conditions already, who are living in extreme poverty already, and then it's going to be the vulnerable people in our society. So it's going to be the homeless people. It's going to be, the elderly, the mentally challenged. These people are going to suffer first and the most. And I say that it's going to be terrible. I'm not, the government's done a lot of bad things to me. And I don't want to see the people in the government prosper. I don't. But they have so many hostages. So many hostages. And I don't just mean my children. I mean everybody on welfare. Everybody on Social Security. Everybody. And they're my customers all the time. And I've not so much at this company, because they're very relaxed with the billing and all of that. But I can't tell you how many times I've quoted the repair cost, and watched a little old lady just cry. I can't afford that. I'm going to freeze to death. It's coming. You think it's not. You think $1. I'm a working man. I've been basically broke my whole life. And partially by design. I never expected a retirement. But I always know in the back of my head, if something bad happens, I can sell this, I can stop buying that, I can modify my budget or liquidate an asset in order to meet a need. And I know a lot of people don't have that. They are on a fixed income. That fixed income is doled out by a government, and it's not, it's not going to be fun. I'm not looking forward to. I'm a little blessed. I'll take that back. The last company can't pay, be on your way. It's just that simple. Here it's more like, oh, we'll bill you. It's not a problem. We'll get it done. If you can't pay the bill, it's a different story down the road. Maybe we don't come out on your next service call, but we don't leave people in tears. But eventually it's going to happen, because the system is broken. The system is broken. And they're not building a new system to replace it. It seems like they're just denying or covering up their mistakes. And, you know, those mistakes are long and numerous. There's a lack of investment in our infrastructure. There's lack of energy technology. There's lack of energy resources. And I'm not talking about oil and coal wells. But I'm sure people will be, because that's what they know and that's what they understand. You know, it's just simply sad. I don't see, you know, that a lot of times there are a lot of people who are smarter than me. You know, I've learned to check my ego whenever I come up with like an invention or something. No longer am I like, oh, that's the best. I'm like, oh, let me go see who's invented that first. See what mistake I made, because I'm sure they thought of it before me and thought it better. And you know, I try to really stay humble in that regard, because it's the truth. People are amazing and people are brilliant, and you forget that watching television. You watch television long enough, you start to think everybody's a freaking idiot. And then you go out into the professional world and you realize, no, these people are specialist ninjas and they're all over the place. There's amazing brilliance all over the place. But they haven't been put to work. They haven't been working in a focused direction. The vast majority of brilliance in this country has been dedicated to turning one pile of money into a bigger pile of money. And if nothing gets built in that process, well, that's what we call low overhead. That's brilliant. And those are the smartest people. They're the ones who figure out how to make money out of money without doing anything. The problem is they're not doing anything and they're still consuming. So that's part of the problem. And so in an attempt to check my ego, I go out and I'm like, well, okay, what's the solution? What am I missing? And I attempt to talk to experts who understand the energy sector better than I understand it, or maybe understand climate change better than I understand it, or whatever. And I'm not getting anything out of any experts that makes me feel like the plan is anything except depopulation, right? And you know, it's like, you don't know what you don't know. Okay, tell me. Well, we don't know either. Well, that's a problem, you know, or you don't, they must know something you don't know. Yeah, what it is a secret. Well, that's suspicious because it's kind of important, you know. So I've thought long and hard about it. I'm not that the profession exists. I'm not a geoengineer. I'm not an engineer, period. I'm a technician. I follow the engineer's guidance. And, you know, I'm looking at this Earth system, and I'm looking at potential ways to cool it down. And what makes sense to me as a professional, although not the top of the mountain professional, but a professional, is the more extreme the solution is, the worse it is, right? And the longer we wait to implement a solution, the more extreme it's required to be. So I do believe that there are geoengineering answers to the problem that we created. If we created it, we can uncreate it. If I build it, I can unbuild it. It maybe takes twice as much work, maybe takes half as much work. It really depends on how much of a mess I'm going to make, right? So if I'm disassembling an air conditioner, it can take me 10 minutes or it can take me all day. And if it takes me all day, I did a really good job, and nothing is disturbed. You wouldn't even know I was in your house or that there was ever an air conditioner in your house. If I did it in 10 minutes, your neighbors would know, the neighbors would know. You would know, the scars would be evident, because of how quickly the job was done and how extreme the measures were to achieve that objective in such a short period of time. And I look at climate change the same way. If we're going to fight climate change, there are answers. There are. But an answer that solves climate change in 10 minutes is the apocalypse, And a solution that solves climate change in 35 years is a lot of hard work, but will go almost unnoticed, right? And I really believe that that's the case. So when I see people not working towards that objective, I get real angry. And, I wish I could say when I hear my friends in Africa are dead, just not starving, not begging. They're always starving. It's not new for them to be when they're dead. They're not asking for money. They can't get dust. It's gone. Everything's gone. I wish I could say I'm not going to feel bad because I tried. I still will feel bad. When the grandmother is crying because she can't afford to pay whatever for her oil system to be fixed because energy prices are, $15 a gallon. I wish I could say I'm not going to feel bad for her because I tried. I'll still feel bad. I'm still going to be the one who has to look them in the eye. I'll still be the one who has to take it on the chin and just fix it anyway. These people deserve to be dishonored, and they deserve to be put to work because they're not going to work. They're going to go hide. They're going to take their early retirement because they were disrespected. Oh, I'm not going to be a cop anymore and stand around and watch you dig that trench because I was so disrespected one time. It's like, dude, your job was to stand there and watch the men work. You should be disrespected. It's not a difficult job. It's not. It's the first job that gets replaced by a robot. But they're not going to put in work. They're not going to be on the front lines. They're not. The day the dollar becomes worthless or so devalued, it's essentially worthless. You're not going to... You'd be lucky if the cops show up to a house fire or show up to anything, never mind actually going to people's houses and taking care of them. It's gonna fall on men like me, and it sucks because it wasn't me who set the energy policy. It wasn't me who failed to make the investments in tangible infrastructure and tangible assets that would produce value on their own. I didn't say, oh, give all the money to the women, or give all the money to the minorities, or give all the money to the soldiers, or give all... No, I was like pulling my hair out like, you people are idiots. You need to put money into a dam, or put money into a nuclear power plant, or put money into a desalination plant, or put money into a recycling plant, or something that produces societal value, because that's the job of the government, right? To manage those types of investments that work for everyone, right? And they didn't want to do that. They didn't want to do their job, and they really don't want to have a nobody like me rubbing their nose in it. But I can see what's right around the corner, and it is the suffering of the underclass. It's the suffering of people who live in extreme poverty today and lived in extreme poverty 10 years ago. It's not going to be the suffering of you know, dope boys. It's not going to be the suffering of you know, most people in America. It's not. But it's coming. I don't want to say that. It's going to hit the vulnerable people in America. And then when it all falls down, those are the people who get it the worst. Because, you know, the hostages. And they are hostages. They're not being taken care of. If they were being taken care of, every single one of those cops would be out there picketing these investments. You know what they picket for? They picket for early retirement. They picket for a pay raise. They do. And they blame the homeless people. They blame the handicapped people. And they don't work. And it's unbelievable that the public unions aren't suicidal. That they're not absolutely suicidal. You know, it's a terrible culture, and they should be ashamed of themselves.